welcome back to another episode of the Stepfamily Saturday Series and the final episode of our discussion with Erica, mom and stepmom from the TLC show The Blended Bunch on Discovery Plus.
So we want to talk a little bit about your stepmom journey. You've shared some of your challenges, but is there any other challenges that you've faced that you can dive a little deeper into?
A little deeper. I think one thing that I struggled with as being a stepmom is definitely feeling inadequate. I think being a mom, being a parent, you already have those inadequacies with your own children, but adding new children into it, you all of a sudden have an ideal version of another parent that you find yourself comparing yourself to. And even as much as you try to shut that voice down and understand we're all different people with different strengths and different weaknesses, I always second guess myself, like, okay, my kids that I had, they're with me for a reason. And, I'm definitely very religious and have a lot of faith. And so I'm like, God sent these kids to me for a reason. Mm-hmm. And God sent these kids to their mom, but unfortunately she's gone. So I'm not the best fit for them. I don't have that intuition that she did. I don't have that full amount of complete compassion and melting when they're sad in the same way that I do with my kids. Even though I feel for them and I love them, there is a tiny bit of a different level. And it's gotten much better as time goes on, but off the bat, it wasn't that way. And so I've really struggled with, feeling like, okay, I wasn't the first pick, right? I was the second pick as a mom, which isn't true. And so just the constant reminding myself that, even though these kids have a mom and she's amazing and wonderful, that I'm their mom too. And there's a reason I'm supposed to be in their life, whether it's to help them or them to help me or a bigger picture, to remind myself that I'm here and I have the tools and I've been given the strengths and even the weaknesses to be able to do this. That's been a really big thing for me to remember and constantly remind myself that I am up for the job, even if I don't feel like I'm qualified.
Yeah, I think we all know how real comparison is, especially with this social media world that we live in today and what we call Pinterest perfect and the expectations we put on ourselves and the stories we put in our own heads. And you've touched on this with what you were just sharing. Do you have specific strategies or tips that you use to help overcome that comparison and move past it and change the story within your own mind?
I think a lot of what I try to do is I talk it out. Like I said, with my friend, her name is Jeanette. She's amazing. She is really great about talking about anything and everything, no judgment. So I'll talk it out and be like, hey, I'm struggling with this. Have you struggled with this? Is this normal? Like wanting to feel normal. And just being able to say it out loud helps me to realize, okay, this isn't true, Erica. This is just me in my mind. I need to get out of my mind. I need to push past this. And I need to look at all the great positive things. So that's my first thing, talking with her. Obviously talking with Spencer, he has been really, really great. I think that's a whole nother topic for another day, being in a second marriage and wondering, being compared to another spouse. But we have a really open relationship where we can discuss that. And I will go up to me like, I'm sorry, I'm not good like this, like Amy was. And he's like, Erica, I didn't want to marry another Amy. I have Amy and now I have you and I love you both. And I picked you for you. I wasn't looking for a second Amy. I was looking for you and your strengths and your weaknesses and who you are. And I had her and I love her how she is. And I love you how you are. So I remind myself, okay, I need to love me for who I am and not want to change into somebody else or to somebody else's strengths. I can improve myself, but I shouldn't expect myself to perform how someone else was with their natural abilities. So those are the big ones. And then the last one I think is I try, sometimes I'm really good and sometimes I'm terrible, to journal a lot. Even if it's just, I have the worst handwriting ever, just like little chicken scratch, write down, okay, this happened today with this kid and it was really, really great. Almost like a gratitude journal. And so if I feel like as a stepmom, I've failed this child and then I didn't do it well enough, I can go back and say, okay, no, we've had successes. Sometimes it's 1 step forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, 5 steps back. And just remember, it's just little baby steps. And that just because there's a failure doesn't mean that you are a complete failure, that you're only a failure if you stop trying. You just got to get up and keep pushing. And when you look over the last year, 2 or 3, you see the huge amount of development growth. So just keeping that big perspective in mind has been really, really vital for me.
Yeah, I love that.
Hear how in tune you are with the kids and with each other. I really love that. But I have to ask, and we're all, we've all raised kids or we're in the process of raising kids, and it's chaotic, but what is it like to blend a family while you're in the spotlight? Like, you have a TV show.
Yes.
24/7 looking at you. And when people are on social media, like, oh, did you see the episode? And blah, blah, blah. And so what is that like? You've taken mothering and stepmothering to a whole new level because you're doing it on TV. What is that even like?
It's been another eye-opening experience. I had my own personal reservations about reality and the stigma that comes along with it, and a lot of those have been myth busted for sure. But it's been an interesting experience. Being in the limelight, you all of a sudden realize it's not just your immediate circle of friends and family that are giving you feedback. And I appreciate people close to me, their feedback, because I know they love me. And even if they don't agree with something that I'm doing, they'll talk with me about it because they want to help, right? When you're in the grander world, people aren't always like that. It's been a little bit hard realizing that everyone's looking at what you're doing and evaluating and maybe criticizing or looking for good ideas. And so it goes both ways. You can get a lot of positivity, a lot of negativity. And before we even started filming, Spencer and I talked several times. He's like my biggest cheerleader. I think he should, everyone should go into him to have counseling, even though he has no training in it. He's just very emotionally intelligent. But he just had to say, okay, Erica, no matter what we're going to do, we're going to be scrutinized as parents and we're going to be praised as parents. We are not going to base our parenting based on what people think about us. We're going to just do what's right for our kids, period. We cannot let outside voices, and that even is within our smaller social circles, we cannot let them affect what we're doing here in our home, because ultimately, even if we do make mistakes, even if there is a better way, we are trying our best and we love these kids more than anybody else does. And so we need to just worry about what we think is best and mute all the voices of the world out.
That's some of the best advice just for all families, whether nuclear or blended step. I think it's just a good reminder for all of us. And we might take you up on that offer to talk to Spencer. We'd love to get the dad, stepdad perspective. So we might be reaching out to say, hey, would you like to come join us on Stepfamily Saturdays?
He would love that. Well, he said he wouldn't love it. He's actually super introverted, but he would be amazing.
Amy, did you have something you were going to add?
I was just going to follow that up with, did it weird the kids out? Like, they're all adjusting to each other and now you have a camera crew.
Oh, the cameras.
Around. So what was that for them?
It surprisingly was a big party. The film crew we had him here for 6 weeks, very compact. So right now we're quiet and we're back to normal right now. But we were a little worried about that. We actually were approached to do a TV show only 3-4 months into being married. And we were like, no way, like, we are focusing on this. There's no way. And it just kept coming up. Opportunity kept coming up. And we're like, okay, maybe we need to just try this out. And maybe this is going to be a blessing and there's something we need to share, or let's just give it a try. Because, originally I was worried about like, oh, cameras in your face, the kids are going to hate that. I don't want that pressure for them. But it was not that way. Our TV crew, they were so great. They became really, really great friends with us. Our producer, I mean, she's so sweet. She'll even like FaceTime with the kids and talk with them. And she always wishes them happy birthday and things like that. It kind of just became like family coming and staying with us for 6 weeks, even though there were TV, like the whole cameras there and the sound guys and people running around. They loved it, and it made the energy of the house a lot of fun. It was really stressful and exhausting for us as adults, I think, but the kids, I think, just had a blast for the most part.
Awesome.
Cool.
I have a couple questions. I'm going to circle back to this one because I just think it's like, I just think it's important for our listeners. So what are some things that Spencer has done to help you feel more comfortable in your role as a stepmom or parenting his children?
His children. Right off the bat, when we got engaged and, you know, the discussions leading up to that, he told me, you know, number 2 reasons why he wants to marry me is, one, he loved me for who I am as a person and our own relationship. But number 2, that was like right there is importance, is that he just thought I was an amazing mother. He'd watched me with my kids over the last year of spending time together, or even just FaceTiming, things like that. And he just thinks I was an incredible mother. He knew I wasn't a perfect mom. And hey, we had really great open conversations of knowing, like, we know we're going to not do so great. We're going to do something with a kid that we're like, oh, that wasn't the best way to handle it. But like we've been talking about, we made it first and foremost an important thing that we always keep that communication open. So when he comes home to work and like, oh, I really struggled with this situation today and I should have handled it this way, but I was really frustrated and I did this. And so I let him know anytime I have my shortcomings, also all my successes, and he does the same. That way we're able to like build each other up. So like this morning I had a daughter that was getting ready for school and she was really upset about her outfit, and I could have gone in her room and been more patient and been like, well, let me help you. And I was like, well, we gotta go. You gotta figure something out. And so I told him about this when we got home, and he just is really great about validating, like, hey, I know you're not perfect. You love them and you're doing your best. And so that has been the biggest key, is just understanding each other, that we're not perfect, and hoping and helping each other grow and become better, but supporting each other even when we terribly fail sometimes.
Yeah. Well, nobody's perfect, so
yeah.
Yeah.
It's great that you guys have each other to lean on in such a solid marriage to back you up. So I want to focus on you for just a minute. You know, we've talked about the extended family relationships and you as a mom and you as a wife. What do you do? What does your self-care routine look like for yourself?
For myself, this is one that's a little harder for me, to be honest. I didn't have a whole lot of self-care in my last marriage, taking care of my husband when he was sick, and having constant babies. So being married to Spencer, I've been really trying. It's been a lot of trial and error, trying to figure out what works for me. A lot of my self-care that has worked so far is getting out and being with family and friends. I am very extroverted, and when I'm around other adults, it really fills my bucket. And I come home, even if I'm gone for an hour, I come home and I'm just so much happier, and I'm ready to be more patient and to get things accomplished around the home. But if there's, days and days and days that I don't see any other adults but Spencer, even though I love him and I love being with him, I don't get the same energy from him that I do being around other people. So that's been a big thing, is just finding that time to go spend with a friend. Like when COVID first happened, that was really hard, those first few weeks of online schooling, not seeing anybody. And so I started running with a friend early in the morning so I could get up and I wasn't away from the kids. And just the self-care of getting some exercise and having someone to talk with every day, it was huge. That, I think that's probably the biggest thing that has benefited me in taking care of myself. I also take a lot of baths. And also, a weekly date night, even though that's with Spencer, that is my saving grace. I need to get out and I just need to rekindle my relationship with him once a week. And our dates are really simple. They don't have to be fancy or extravagant. They could be us just going on a walk together. But that's been a big one as well.
Well, I'm glad in the midst of raising 11 kids, you are carving out a little bit of time for yourself in there, because that is
we
so
all
important.
have to.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so this is a question we all wanted to ask you because we're all moms, with busy schedules and all of that. So inquiring minds want to know, how do you cook for a family of 13 and not live in the kitchen? We were laughing about this. It's like, is she always in the kitchen? Does she food prep on Sundays? Like, what is your secret, Erica? Because we need to know.
It feels like I'm always in the kitchen. you know what? We have very set meal times: lunch, breakfast, snack, dinner, same time every day. And so that way I'm not in the kitchen all day. But I do just a lot of simple meals. We have some really picky eaters, and we have a couple people in the family who have some dietary concerns. So a lot of our meals, and this has been so helpful, is they're really simple. We pick like a base grain, a base protein, a few options, and toppings. So like taco bowls or burritos, everyone can go and pick what they like. So they're at least getting a variety. It's not me stressing out, pulling my hair, because not everyone's making eating what I cooked. And it's giving them a little bit of freedom of like choice that they get to choose what they're eating, but still get healthy. Or like oatmeal bars. That's our biggest thing for breakfast, is a big, huge pot of oatmeal, super fast to make. And then just all the different berries and peanut butter and bananas and nuts that they can put on top of it. So everyone's getting what they want, because the thing that is the hardest for me is kids complaining about my cooking. So we keep it simple. I feel like sometimes as mom, we have this pressure that we need to make these elaborate meals, especially in the world of the internet and social media. We see all these moms making these beautiful gourmet meals, and I love to eat like that, but I do not like to cook like that for 11 kids. So I think just keeping it simple, making it something that you are not spending a ton of time in the kitchen, because I, for one, don't love being in the kitchen all day long. I'd much rather be relaxing on the couch with the kids, hanging out.
That's wonderful.
Ideas.
Well, we do want to honor your time that you're giving us today. Any final questions, ladies?
No, I do have one more question here. We were curious, besides your own blended family, and aside from TV and movies, did you ever have any personal experience? Did you ever have any friendships or anything like that with people that were in a step or blended family prior to being in one yourself?
I did not have anyone very close to me as an adult that was from a blended family. I did as a child, but it's been so long since I've been around those relationships. So the blended family thing was a whole brand new world for me. Yeah.
Erica, thank you so much for joining us and being willing to share your story, especially so transparently and authentically for us and our listeners. We really appreciate you. For those that are listening and would like to check out the show if they haven't already, where can they find the Blended Bunch and connect with you?
So you can stream it on Discovery Plus. It's going to be there forever. So you've got all the time in the world to watch it if you want. Hope you enjoyed it if you get to. And thank you so much for having me today.
Of course. Thank you all for joining us today. We hope that you've enjoyed this conversation with us and with Erica. And if you're looking for more episodes of the Stepfamily Saturday Guides, please tune in on our website at stepfamilyguides.com or through YouTube by searching the Stepfamily Guides. And we hope that you have a beautiful day.